So I just had something come up with one of the customers that I thought might be a good idea to do a video on. What the situation was is he had gone in and created some matrix levels. So for example, I have a default retail here that he had a matrix level broken down something like this, and then another level that he had created called retail minus 10%. And here he had gone in and put in, from $0 to $1,000, and he wanted to put in a negative 10%. So this is what he had done, and his thought is that the matrix level for default retail would get run, it would mark it up by whatever it was going to mark it up, and then this level would run afterwards and reduce the price down to 10% off of that default retail. And that really isn't the way Lizzy works. Lizzy only runs one matrix level at a time. It doesn't compile them and run through a series of them to figure out what the price is supposed to be, because it would get really complicated trying to figure out which one to do first and second, and it would be kind of confusing to go back and try to research what exactly happened. So the way that Lizzy works is it runs off of MSRP all the time. So if you were to go look up a part, whatever its price is that comes off the price tape for MSRP is what is going to be used for running these matrix levels off of them. So in one sense, and in the customer sense, he felt like we weren't able to handle his scenario. And so what I'm going to do in this video is show you how to actually handle that scenario properly so that you get the end result that you're looking for. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to jump back over here to my default retail, because it is critical to be the starting point. We want that to be the starting point. But the problem is that we have broken this down, and it's not a problem, it's just something you need to pay attention to. We've broken this down into levels. So we don't have a 0 to 1,000 getting marked up. We're a 0 to 20, a 20 to 40, a 40 to 60. So we need to keep our other matrix levels with those same breakdowns. So it's very critical that if you want it to operate in the way that this particular dealer wanted it to operate, that you follow this process. So step one is you're always wanting to work off of default retail. So always go to default retail and tag it. So, and that's all you have to do is just tag that item for duplication. So now what we're going to do is we're going to jump over here to our retail minus 10, and I'm going to tell it to duplicate. And so you'll notice now my retail minus 10 looks exactly like my default retail does. The problem is I want this to be minus 10%, because that's the name of it, right? It's retail minus 10%. So all I'm going to do is modify each of these records and reduce them by 10. So this one is going to become 5%. This one is going to become a negative 2%. This would become a negative 4%. So what you see here is this is working off of default retail, the exact same thing that the default retail price is working off. This is working off MSRP. So default retail is working off MSRP, but it's telling it to mark it up. This is running off of MSRP, but it's telling it to mark it up less than what it did for the default retail, 10% less, in fact. So when you go to check the price for the part, if you select default retail, it's going to be 10% or whatever that breakdown was. It'll be that percent higher. And if I choose retail minus 10, it's going to be 10% less than what I was when I went and looked at the default retail price. So same end result, just a little bit different way to get there.